In this video, I'm going to explain IP claims on Amazon and how to avoid brands that may lead to account suspension. And I'm actually going to show you a Google Chrome extension that you can use to help with this. But before I do that, I need to go over some of the concepts. First of all, what is an IP claim on Amazon? And IP actually stands for intellectual property. And I'm going to read this to you, which I got off of Google. A brand owner or their legal team may contact Amazon to issue an IP complaint for a specific ASIN. In doing so, they allege that the other sellers on the Amazon listing are unlawfully using the company's intellectual property. Amazon then contacts you with the IP claim and you have to respond. Okay, so that's basically how it works. The brand owner actually issues the IP complaint through Amazon and then Amazon contacts you about it, right? Now, it's important to understand that these IP rights are not the same as brand restrictions. Okay, these are two different things. So what it means is that you can actually have approval to sell the brand on Amazon Seller Central, and you can still get hit with an IP claim. And that's where the real danger comes in, because Amazon doesn't even tell you what brands are likely to cause these IP claims. They'll let you sell the brand. They'll give you approval, and they're not letting you know that these brands will cause IP claims. So that brings me to the results. Well, what are some of the results of these IP claims? Well, for one, it could prevent you from being able to sell a particular ASIN, all right? But that's the least of your troubles because, you know, with enough of these claims, it could eventually lead to account suspension, which is what we really want to avoid, of course, on Amazon. Now, that brings us to an important issue of how do we actually avoid the IP claims, right? So the primary way that sellers avoid IP claims is really to avoid the brands that are issuing the claims in the first place. That's really all you can do is try to avoid those brands. Avoid those brands. Here's the problem. In doing that, Amazon does not actually tell us which brands to avoid, right? They don't give us a list, as I said before. So in avoiding brands, here's some of the things that we can do. Now, for one, we really only know through experience of other sellers getting hit with IP claims. That's pretty much how we know which brands to avoid. So there are really three main ways that we avoid brands with that information. Number one is restricted brands lists that are readily available on Google, on different websites. They might also be in some Facebook groups, or there might be some different groups out there who have their own brands, restricted brands lists as well. So that is one way to do it. Another way is pretty much what I was just talking about, social media, where you can talk to other sellers to find out which brands are getting hit. So that's a little different from having an actual list, right? Again, you could be part of a group that shares brands that are getting hit. And then number three is we can use software that does the actual work of gathering the data. So they have their own resources for gathering this brand's data, and then they will tell you when the brand is a risk, when it's likely to be hit with an IP claim. Okay, so if we look at these options just very quickly, keep in mind, if we're checking restricted brands lists, we have to actually check those lists. Yes, you can do it through Google, and actually that brings me to my demonstration. So I'm going to actually exit this now because one thing I demonstrated in another video is that you can put a brand in quotes, the name of a brand, and you can put Amazon restricted brands list in quotes, and this will help you check the restricted list on Google. But here's the issue. Let's take, for instance, this brand, which is called Hurricane, and here it is. It brings up these results, right? And you might think these are good results, but these are actually not. These are other things. These are ads, and I've already checked these links. Okay, they're not related to what I searched for. Okay, and if you go through this link, it looks like it is, but then when you click on this, it takes you into something different where it tells you to pick Russian or English, and it's just a whole different thing from what I searched here. Okay, so really, although I think this is a good method to check restricted brands lists, it's not good enough just to check restricted brands lists. And let me show you an example now. Here is, I'm going to type in the name of that same brand, Hurricane, and I'm going to show you a Chrome extension. Now, as you can see, I have approval to sell these brands, all right, which is likely why they don't show up on any restricted brands lists, because a lot of the brands on those lists are just brands where you need special approval, okay? But I'm going to show you that when I click on one of these products, Okay, I have a Chrome extension, and what it's going to do is it's going to tell me that this brand is known to file IP complaints. Okay, the name of this is IP Alert, and I'm going to show you another brand, another example. Now, this brand is actually restricted. I don't even have approval to sell this brand anyway, but I'm still going to use it, right, just for you to see. Okay, so this is a brand, Cuisine Art, which I've shown in a few videos. And when I open any of their products, it's going to tell me, I just have to wait for it, this brand is known to file IP complaints. Okay, so this is called IP Alert. I'll show you another brand where I actually have approval. Okay, so here it is. I have approval for this brand. I'll take Langzing, and I'll just click on a random product. Take this Bluetooth speaker, and I'll wait for the results. Right, this brand is known to file IP complaints, and actually, if you check this brand on restricted lists, you'll see that it is actually also on some restricted lists. Okay, so this brand, and I happen to know that this is a good list, the Sell-In Guys, meaning that it has an actual list. So it's on here, and that's good. See legal action or policy warning. All right, so they have already identified this brand, and as you can see, so does this Chrome extension. All right, you'll see the same thing, the Cuisine Art that I did before. I'll go back. If you check Cuisine Art, you'll see that that is another restricted brand as well. Cuisine Art. Okay, I'll check Seller Essentials. You'll see that it's on here as well under CU. Okay, Cuisine Art. All right, so as you can see, again, this program picks up on that, right? I had one of these that was Cuisine Art. Okay, and if you refresh it, because I had opened it before, I need to refresh it, okay, to get a new result from the IP Alert. This brand is known to file IP complaints, right? And you see it's also on a restricted brands list. So there's some brands that are going to be on a list like this, okay? And then you'll also see it come up here. But then there's some brands, don't forget the first brand I did, where was it? Hurricane. It's not on a proper brands list, all right? But yet it still comes up here as a IP risk, because what they do for this Chrome extension is they have a community, they have a certain source, they have a database where they are gathering up all these brands as they are being hit with IP claims. They're creating this database, and then when you open an ASIN, what it does is it looks at the brand of your ASIN and it says, wait, this is a brand that is being hit right now. Okay, so I definitely recommend using a Chrome extension like this to help with your brand safety. Now, I'm not saying that if you have this Chrome extension that you should not also check restricted brands list. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go on Facebook, as I mentioned here, and talk to other sellers. I'm not saying you shouldn't do these other things, but basically with avoiding brands, it's all about probability, because it's really not perfect, because even with the software, there could be one little brand out there that tomorrow decides to start doing IP claims, right? They've never done an IP claim before, and then tomorrow they wake up and they say, well, let's start doing IP claims. So there's always that possibility, but we want to reduce that possibility as much as possible, and we do that by having as many different tools and using all the resources that are available to help check these brands and to the best of our ability. So the more tools you have, a Chrome extension, restricted list, the more different things you have, the better. Now, right now, as of today, they have a lifetime membership for this Chrome extension. So this is not something that if you sign up now, you're not going to have to pay for this every single month over and over. It's actually a one-time sign up, and you also get admitted to a Google group. You become part of a group where they will share your information there as well. So this is something that is, you can definitely budget for, and you're not going to have to keep paying for it every month. Also, I have a special discount code for sure right now, which should be on the description of this video. And if you enter that discount code, you will get $30 off the going price of the Chrome extension. I don't want to mention specific price here because, you know, these things could be subject to change in the future. So someone watching this in the future, I don't want them to have the wrong price, but I'm telling you that the discount code that I was able to work out is $30 off. Okay, there's a $30 off discount code. So find the discount code in the description of this video. And if you're interested, you can go ahead and sign up. If you click the link, you can first take a look. They will actually tell you how it works, and they have some information there first that you can read and decide if that's something that you really want to do. Okay, but again, I definitely suggest as many resources as possible, because I mean, I get emails even from people who have been hit with things, right? I mean, IP claims is only one of the things you have to be concerned about. Of course, there are other things as well, but you know, this is definitely one that is it takes some work to avoid, right? Because you really have to go and research these brands, all right, in order to avoid them in the first place, right? Okay, so those are basically that's basically IP claims. I'm not an expert, by the way, on brands and IP claims, but I've done some research, and so I know how it works in general. Okay, and so I put this video together for you, and I shared a resource that I thought could be helpful to you in helping to identify these brands. So that's about it. I'm Mr. Mark, Excel for Amazon Dropshipping. Check the video for links below for further information, and I look forward to seeing you on another video.